Alright guys, welcome in everybody. This is episode 183 of Shackled City. Hello everybody. How's everyone doing today?
Doing good, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. Not bad. It's been a day. It's been a week so far, so I'm stoked to return to this and see what kind of shit you guys put me through tonight. Mostly.
Oh, come on. You know you enjoy our shit.
Yeah.
We've got our plans that you don't know about yet.
Did you
We
find
don't
out what the
plan.
poll closed at?
We have proven over and over we do not plan.
You do not plan.
You guys plan things?
Oh, I do.
What?
I talk about them in my Discord all the time.
Do you now?
It's actually true.
Yeah, he does.
I like how since I've started up today, Thelsa rolls a 33 out of 100.
Yeah, and he got it out early.
Jacob rolled a 1. That is the
First
most
roll of the night, guys.
on-brand shit I've ever seen. you fucking... Oh, man. This is fine.
I'm telling you, man. In my other game, I went ahead and started, it got to the point where my DM had me roll do the first roll every night just so I could get the one out the way.
Well, shit. If there's ever a time. This is that time, I suppose. All right, so it's good to see everybody back here. Hope everybody's in good spirits, good moods. I'm glad to be back at the table, and I'm ready to kick this off. So let's talk about what happened last time. Not a lot occurred, but you guys did get some things pseudo accomplished.
No, I mean, not a lot occurred, but
I'm not dead anymore.
If we're gonna talk about it,
Yes, we should.
do me a favor, everyone in chat, get your chains, get your locks, and get ready for tonight's recap. Yeah,
Oh,
there
God.
we go.
All right.
Yeah. That one hurt my throat a little bit.
Did
not
it
gonna
now?
lie.
All right.
Yeah, I felt like it was straining myself. Yeah.
I hate him. Oh, man.
One of these days, I'm going to go ahead and beat him to death with a bag of phalluses.
Sloth, Eldritch, Aurora.
One of these days, I'm going to
Cosmic.
report you to the police for having a bag of phalluses.
Thank you.
And not the fact that you assault him, but that you actually intend to beat him with a bag of dicks.
Intent to injure.
Yes.
Careful, I'll beat your dick off. And then what are you gonna do, huh?
Beat your dick off both hands. Real talk.
Right there. Just bah, 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 bah. Just what are you gonna do? Look how quick that was.
I'll look for a rag, I guess. I don't know what else to do. Is this a promise? Is it a threat? I'm not sure where to go with
Challenge.
this. It's a challenge. Okay, all right.
lined in sandpaper. Just go. Just right there. Got
Jesus, man. Well,
Not like half my exes.
him. They call me Sandhand Ron.
do they? Where?
Just right now.
With the
truck-
sand handler.
Random truck stops.
All right. Well, I mean,
But yeah, about that recap.
please tell me more. Come on, Sandhand Ron. Tell me more.
We had Nab finally show up to the apothecary, where when eye contact was made by Cort, he proceeded to, as a cool kid would say, Hulk the fuck out, in spite of missing his innards.
Sure.
And I wouldn't say he was upset that he was pushed out to leave because he was called a demon, but he was more
Peeved.
what's the word?
Inconvenienced?
Yeah, inconvenience that he kind of showed up when he felt like he was, well, yeah, in the sense that he was like physically called to that spot only to be pushed away from it.
Yeah.
And he pretty much left, kind of throwing out there that, we had a deal. Why are you treating me like this now? And that was kind of a line that Cort heard, but we don't know if he kind of understood what
If he
was happening at the
processed it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure if he processed it at the time. Just probably for the best. I think that's going to be an interesting conversation.
hmm
How do you think Cort's
how-
going to feel when he realizes that you made a deal with the devil and the devil brought all of your friends back?
show smite the kid. What was he like 5 in my eyes? What is it? But a speck
But it's okay.
in
Gotcha.
the life of a dwarf. All right.
I actually want to see, like, if I made this game about, I made you guys like evil. If you decided that you wanted to make this campaign evil,
Oh,
would you
it'd be
just go
so much
around
more fun.
saving orphans and
Wait a
and
minute.
rescuing kittens.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, if we could do evil, it'd be great.
This is supposed to be a good
We would-
campaign. When did that happen?
We're like,
Wait a
all right, we
minute.
gotta start an evil, and we gotta do this right. Should we invade the city? We end up breaking in. We're like, we're low on food. We should really work on the supplies. Booming economy just happens overnight, and then next thing we know, we're like, I don't think we did this right.
And we
Welcome
really
to
suck at
Houston.
this.
Citizen, you're terrified for your life. No, my lords, we're actually quite happy. Look,
This is actually
It's
the best
utopia.
we've seen our economy in years.
That's
utopia
actually
for all.
that's
Oh,
actually the
shit.
long con right
We have
there.
a
is
0% unemployment rate. Everyone's so happy.
You would
Thank
bring fiscal security to a dying community, raise them back to the precipice of total like control and happiness, just
you
to
steal
take
it.
it all from out,
Yeah,
out
then,
from
then
under
you
them.
steal all the shit again.
Yeah.
What about that poor house that burned down? Oh, it was a drug smuggling den that we just figured out once the place had burned down.
Yep.
Like, oh, shit. Did it again.
Oh, well, we destroyed the entire lake. We took all the water and we shot it into the actual caldera itself. They're like, well, it turns out the water was poisoned, and it going into the ground actually naturally filtered it all the way to the bottom. We now have a purified source of water for the city. So thank you again for doing that. Well, what the fuck? Like, how?
God, what?
How?
How does this
It
keep
turns out-
happening to us?
Turns out you also happened to kill the dragon that was sleeping in there. Never got a chance to get out. Also, this soul gem that you had actually cracked on the way out. So the demon that was in here no longer has any power. So it's actually just a dormant gem that we actually sold for even more money for the economy. So things are good, and we also have full-on regional stability. Nothing's going. This is actually an era of peace for the first time in 100 years.
There's
We call
free
this-
trade between all the nations. Everyone's incredibly happy.
Oh, you understand we're evil, right? No, we don't see you guys.
No, you guys are our heroes, honestly.
We killed but we killed orphans. So it turns out they were goblins in disguise.
So, wild story, which I guess it's not really so much of a story as much of a point to make that I feel like is regularly missed in most campaigns. That I'm not sure if you guys even know this or not. I bet Sniper would, since he sort of dives into the diatribes of this sort of thing. But villains oftentimes have
Themselves as
friends.
heroes.
They see themselves as heroes. They see themselves as heroic, or by nature they're doing something to help someone that matters to them. So largely, you're not really like, everyone's sort of bad in their own right. Like the Crusades, the Paladins, all of these people that are doing these things to sort of right the wrongs and deal with injustices, maybe acquired in a very perceptively seen as a wrong way, but genuinely it's so not so they can just line their pockets, but to help the people that they align themselves with. Even evil people can be friends with good
people.
aligned people, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a common misconception at the table.
Artemis and Drizzt. There you go. Best example.
That's not friendship. That's right. That's pure rivalry.
Elsa and the rest of the party.
That's actually far more accurate. Yeah, I would say that's far more accurate.
Thelsa and Ulhime, love interest. Gonna have our own spin-off series. It'd be great.
That's gonna be strange, very strange. But weirder things have happened.
Ulsa, Thelmheim, whatever you want to call it.
Me, I just like
Thumb.
killing kids.
Thumb. There you go. Will and Grace.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh no, not like this. Oh man, but yeah.
Good campaign, bad campaign. Hey, I'm just here to kill kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. It's often overlooked that lawful evil characters should want society to succeed so that they can reap its benefits for themselves. Yeah.
Isn't
It's
that like
true.
most thieves or thieves guilds or like lawful evil to an extent?
Well, I
Like
mean,
they kind of work the system in their own way, but
I'm-
for the
I'm
most
not-
part, they need that society to function in order to make their own profit.
I'm not going to explain. One second.
I have a title for our spin-off series, Ron. It's The Lady, the Lich, and the Warforged.
There you go. There you go. We got it.
We're set.
Thelsa wants to kill Ulhime, but Ulhime's already dead. The only way she kills him is with her witty jokes.
Okay, sorry.
What's she gonna say this time? Find out on today's episode.
What was I saying? I got distracted. Forgive me.
Not that simple.
It's never ever that simple, right? Nothing is ever as immediately as perceived as it might be. Nothing is ever as black and white as what we immediately think. Yeah. So
I feel like I'm gonna be like an inadvertent villain at the end of this.
who's to say you're not already?
I kind of feel like I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about-
I think if we're talking villains, I probably have the lead right now.
I'd probably killed more people, but I've killed more people that don't matter. You kill people that do matter, and that's why you're in fault.
I try to help the dead people, and
Well, I mean,
Doesn't really go
technically, I'm guilty of over 200 murders, so
As
a lot of
found by
options.
a faulty and or broken government, sure. What do you think, Will? What's your take from this? Do you guys think that you are just sort of like falling in line and doing all of the best deeds, or are you villainous? Are you heroes or villains of the story? What do you think?
Shades of gray, I think. I mean, there's good intentions for the most part.
how
But,
many shades would you say?
Don't do it.
Not playing into that. Not tonight.
It's one above 49.
So it's half of 100.
To be exact, 50. 50 shades.
This is the worst.
All right, guys, that's it. No Shackled City tonight. Thanks, Ronald.
Yep.
I
Sorry,
just want
see
to
you
point
later.
out. I just want to point out I did not do that.
I know. It's you know what? It's actually already recorded. We all know who did that.
Oh.
Mm.
This hot piece of chocolate ass right here. That's right.
Yep. I knew him to be
Sounds
ass.
sounds melty.
That sounds melty. Yes, it does. So I've got all the others' take, but I want to know, Red, what are your thoughts here? Villains, heroes? Is it all gray? Or are you just kind of weaving in between?
I mean, I keep asking the question and I never get a definitive answer. I keep getting told you'll find out.
Are you expecting an answer, or are you just sort of like throwing it out there into the void and hoping that you can answer it at a point?
I mean, personally, I think we're a bunch of assholes who want to do good. That'd probably be the best description for our group.
Okay.
We're trying.
We're totally unqualified heroes.
Yeah, look. It's not our fault all those things go really wrong.
I mean,
We
usually
just
the best
happen to
heroes
be there
never,
at that time.
are never really
At
qualified for
every
the job they're
location
doing.
where something goes wrong.
We lied on the resume and still somehow got the job.
Yeah, so we're working with what we got.
Yeah, this isn't one of those things where the boss walks around and you pretend to be alert and pressing all the buttons and pulling the levers, and you're like, hey, and wave, and then as he walks by, you're like, well, that was good. I kick back now. I mean, you kind of all in this, right? Like,
I feel like this is the way a lot of this will play out. Is we're eventually or inevitably gonna have to let certain evils exist in order to maintain a certain balance.
Oh no.
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think it's safe to assume
And
that you guys
it-
are operating on a neutral and waving line.
And I think Nab kind of fits that demographic already. He's kind of been that target that we've been after, but it's like the more stuff starts happening, the more we kind of have to let him be in control of the background, if that makes sense.
Woo! That's spicy. I like that. I like that. The paladin cleric that is proposing himself to be a god of sorts is expressing the necessity of having a demon general in presence.
Yeah, Great Line's kind of a hard term there.
If you
I
ever
mean,
see,
how else
if,
are you going to go ahead and get job security?
if Ulhime was an MTG card, his Series 1 was a mono white plains card, and then like his Series 2 is like Orzhov.
Yeah,
For
black
sure.
and white. Yep.
Yeah.
It's black and white, definitely. I feel that. I like it though. I like it. Oh man, it's good to see everybody out here tonight. I will let everybody know that we currently do not have any luck rerolls. You can do that by gifting 5 gift subs to stream. They cap out at 5 luck rerolls. That is 25 gift subs. I cap out at 5, but I don't get 1 until we hit 10 gift subs. So at a max of 50, that's where I acquire my most, and I can use them to influence the game in any facet. Bear in mind, this may be prone to changing. The Bane and Boot came back. It came all back. The Bane and Boon. It's done. Boon won. You guys actually get something positive. I'm sure that you will find a way to twist this, but Bane and Boon came back as Boon being the winner, which is great. It's great news. It's going to take me about a week to come up with whatever we're going to be doing, but when announced, I'll make sure to let everybody know across all platforms. Probably let everyone know through Twitter and Discord and live in-game. Whatever the mechanic happens to be, well, it's going to be weird. Let's just say that. So
I'm gonna make it.
We'll still find a way to make it not great. Don't worry.
Most certainly. We'll figure that out, though, in time. So, all of those things aside, what actually fully occurred in our last run?
So, after we found out that Nab left, Ulhime saw that... Oh my gosh, forgetting his name.
Charlie
showed up, but it was Helm or Helm's Essence possessing Charlie. And he was pretty much telling them that kind of like the path that he was taking wasn't really, well, not the best path. Well, I guess not even the best path or the worst path. It was just kind of, I was being reckless. And that's when Jakob was getting mouthy with him, saying that pretty much everything that's gone wrong up until this point was Helm's fault, which was a lot to fucking put on one person.
Yeah, and it's not true. Not even the slightest.
Yeah. And then for Helm pretty much to kind of was starting to talk down to Jakob, and it was kind of like a spat they were having back and forth. So Ulhime foolishly or bravely, some weird dumb combination of both,
Another
like told
wavy line.
Helm, yeah, it was like, don't talk down to my friends, especially since they're like trying to make the best of a bad situation. And yeah, he kind of stood for his friend. I also found out that he's not directly linked to Helm anymore. It's Nadrama that's keeping his clerical powers in check.
Mm-hmm. What do you think that means? Okay, so let's ask this question.
I don't know if it's that I lost favor with him, or I've never really had it with him.
How does a cleric get their abilities?
Divine blessing, pretty
Divine
much.
blessing,
like,
correct.
Yeah.
What happens if they lose that blessing?
It goes away. Like they have to atone to get that power back.
You become an ex-cleric until you atone.
Can you call Dad?
Which basically means that he will lose access to all of his cleric abilities, all of his spells, and things of that nature. And it can essentially neuter him, turn him into a weaker version of a fighter.
Yeah.
Which is already hard because clerics have a bit of a suffer penalty put against them through combat, courtesy of the way that the game is played. At least for the mechanics of it. Now, it can make for great narrative, but I know that you've gone through that before, where you've lost favor with at least one of you. Exactly, at least one of you have lost favor with your deity, and it sucks. It sucks because your stats are not great. Just leaning on your stat pool alone is not super exceptional.
Yeah.
Having access to your spells is pretty much everything to your character.
Yeah. I think that's also like a weird disconnect, like from the mechanical and roleplay standpoint. Like roleplay standpoint, everyone loves a redemption arc of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
But like in game, it's like even like when you as a DM are like giving like the best advantages to that player that's lost everything, like their class template is just like, no, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really hard comeback tale. But the suffering, it pays off because you still gain experience as a cleric. You're still committing yourself to the cause. You just don't have access to your spells or your spell-like abilities and supernatural features for the time being, which is all right. What are your thoughts? Any cliff notes or TLDR on being an ex-cleric?
It's hard to know what to do because there isn't really a guideline to getting back to being a cleric again. So you're just kind of judging everything that happens based off of what you think they would appreciate and dislike. So it's rough.
Now remember, just because you lose favor with your god doesn't mean that you can't gain favor with another god.
Ooh, bro, Weejoss would be a fucking dope ass god. Imagine my eyes just turning fucking gold to like blood red. That shit would be sick.
That's horrific.
That would be fucking dope. Fucking just like platinum arm just drops off and it's just like two like red ruby like arms that fucking grow in its place. Oh, dude, that could be my ascension to the Ruby Conclave. We should do that. New god, who this?
We can talk after stream if that's a serious thing. That could be the thumb arc that we needed, the Thelsa Ulhime arc.
Dude, the Red Queen and the Red King, dang! We be ruling Cauldron left and right, dang! Wow.
Feels weird, man. But you know what? Whatever. If that's the route that you guys go down, then so be it. But yeah, he said that the only thing that's sort of keeping you god powered right now is Nadrama. Yeah.
But she's not actually around. It's like it would be like if like the engine that comprised her is in Ulhime, but not her herself, right?
Oh, so you mean her soul?
Yeah, but it's not like she's actually there. Like I can't communicate with her, right?
No, you can't. She gave you her divine essence.
Okay.
And at the cost of her own life. It killed her.
Yeah.
But this isn't the first time this has happened. This happened once already that you guys are very well aware of. Who and what?
Helm.
What?
Helm.
No.
Got trapped. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Alicast.
Correct. It was Alicast. Her brother, actually. Her twin brother, Alicast. Gave himself to represent a weapon.
Yep.
And that weapon, just as a little playback on some past, who was that given to? It was a gift.
Surabar Spellmason.
That's right. Well done. I'm actually surprised. Read that you came out
And
with
most
that.
recently, it's ended inside of my guts.
The Kareem
Correct.
Abdul-Jabbar of Wizards.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
he,
look at them guts.
And
Please-
now
please
it's in the
tell me.
hands
God
of
damn
an
it.
idiot.
Mostly. I feel like you're starting to put some things together. But yes, he said that you've gained your abilities not because of his support, but because of the support of Nadrama. Nadrama's the only thing that's keeping you god powered at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, it was. I mean, there was still some reassurances like that he hasn't given up on me, because he's still saying that he's for the most part like watching me. He's not
Correct.
like he's not like like I'm done with you,
Why is that? Why hasn't he completely given up on you?
because I'm still trying to help him,
No, that's not at all.
or he's
He
worried
said
about
that.
his
He actually
domain.
said this. He said this last session.
Then it would be that he was worried about his domain and the boy Jimothy.
No,
Then I'm not 100% sure.
because he believed in Nadrama and her decision,
Oh, okay.
and she's never been wrong before. So that was more or less a point on his part that that there's always there's always a first time. Maybe Nadrama was wrong, but that he's going to hold out. That's sort of what he does. Helm just kind of plays the long game and everything. Inevitably, it doesn't always work in his favor, but here he is. This is the hand that's been dealt, and he's dealing with it the best that he possibly can. What else occurred? It was more than just that. Aside from Jacob's little tantrum about I'm blind and this is your fault, Dick.
I had some fun surgery.
Vin Diesel upgraded Cort with a new
Yep.
engine.
Yeah, and then he did a split on top of me.
I don't remember this.
No, you don't?
He,
No, it's pretty
he-
impressive.
Cort, we had to teleport Cort to Keegan Gelb, and he essentially now is part clockwork.
I got a clockwork stomach now. It's like a
Okay.
giant bag that's deflatable if I get stabbed.
That's inaccurate. Didn't describe that at all.
It's a different composition of parts. Essentially, that's substituting for his lower intestines, if I remember correctly, and his
And
stomach.
diaphragm.
Pretty much his entire digestive tract, sans his mouth and esophagus.
Yeah. And for that, he essentially has an engine built inside of him now.
I'm a rebel
And
boy.
because of that, he he has like this weird thrumming sound that makes it
Yeah,
harder for him to
the
hide.
effects were -6 to stealth, and what else was it? I think there was something else.
You can't be poisoned
You can't be
by
poisoned.
edible
That's
anything
foods.
that's what it is. No more poisoning. Yeah.
Well, you
Well,
can be
no-
poisoned, not just through ingestion, I believe.
Yeah, your blood can be poisoned, but your stomach cannot.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, that's good. At least now I don't have to worry
You
about
have a
being poisoned.
dwarven stomach at this point.
Neat.
That
Sort of. That's a way to think of it.
hum-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've got a dwarven stomach that hums like a, general
refrigerator.
Yeah. Yes. Actually,
Mhm.
that's fairly accurate. You have a
Can I just
From this
take
day
things-
forward,
Can I leave like cold frosty drinks inside and just like pull them out at like parties and be like, "Yo,
removing that would likely kill you.
damn!"
You would need
Can I have like a little tiny little door that I can just open and close?
It
No.
would be a great trick, but you can only do it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from this day forward,
Hey
he
guys,
is
beer's
forever
on
known-
me.
He is forever known as the knight of Cauldron, Cort, Maytag.
Correct. It's exceptional since you will
A
have
family
one
brand.
beer for your beer party, and it will be the temperature of your body, and no one will enjoy drinking it.
Look, 90-degree beer's fine. I'm sure.
No,
everyone's
it's not.
okay
On
with
what fucking planet are you from? Because that sounds like ass.
Well, you don't put your beer in some nice like boiling water before you drink it. Like,
Nope.
get
No,
it-
dude, you just throw it in the microwave for like 5
Yeah, exactly.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
Keep the cap on too,
oh yeah.
on your
Makes
bottle.
it better. That way, when you open it, you get all the
Just the thought of
aromatics.
holding a warm beer bottle sickens me.
I'm with you.
Unless you happen to be
Why? Because
Irish.
it's too close to
All right,
piss.
look, fine. We'll do it better for you. Just take your
Piss water.
Disaronno bottle and put it in the microwave. You can do it too.
No.
Fine liquors work well.
Fucking gross.
Unless you happen to be Irish, in which case you have Guinness, it's room temp, and you chew it on the way down.
And you're not wrong.
We ended with Cort's surgery being finished. He needs rest, but he's gonna be okay.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
And Jenya was finally able to eat.
That image that you guys just sold me on the warm beer was just like a loaf of bread dunked in bog water, and you're like, here we go. Get
That's
drunk on
good.
that.
I would probably be down for bog water because it'd probably be colder than what we were having.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the joke drink called a cement mixer?
Yes.
That's what I
actually-
thought of.
Yeah, there's you can get actual cement mixers as shakes here in the States.
Look, man, nothing's better.
That sounds
than a
like
beer.
ass.
No, they're
That's
actually
just
quite
been left
tasty,
out in the
but
sun,
it's not made
uncapped
the
for
same
a
way.
day.
And maybe it's
Everyone's
okay.
favorite beer.
Well, when you come into town, I'll hook you up with the local cement mixers. They're not terrible,
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
So,
Penis. What?
yep, that I don't know. I don't think that's what happened. What else happened? Anything of notoriety?
I yelled a lot at the demon boy. He had his talk with his god boy. I got a new stomach. I think that's
For the most part, that's kind of
Yeah.
what we covered.
think that's it.
Outside of that, there was another Heroes Feast, but I don't know if you're counting that towards the clock. That
I
we,
did actually. I actually just now wrote it down.
Okay, cool. Then
I hit-
Go ahead.
I had a chat with Jenya, offering for her to stay at the church if she really needs it. But
that's right.
if it ever comes to that, I have some rebuilding to do, and she thought it was funny that I was mentioning myself having rebuilding to do when her church was literally destroyed.
Yes, there was certainly some irony in your pitch.
Oh wait, we had a talk too, didn't we?
And I think, short of Rahk, everyone had some talks with someone.
Yeah.
Most of the talking from Cort was him
it
grunting.
was with my
his
eyes. I talked
eyeballs
with my eyes.
popping out of his
Yeah.
fucking face.
Yeah.
It worked.
Oh, and then Thelsa with oh my god, Dragon Bitch.
Asha.
Sasha,
Yes,
there you go.
There you go.
I'm
You're
sorry.
you're
I'm-
pulling a fucking sniper right now. It's weird
Yeah,
now,
my-
dog.
I don't know why. It's like I don't know. My mind's in a weird place right now. But
Is it Freaky
Well, it's
Friday?
because we're going out of order, is what's happening.
yeah. Well, no, I'm not even that. Even in order, I'm losing chunks of memory. But yeah, he was talking with Sasha about essentially he got it like a special kind of favor. So every time he walks in, as long as he announces himself, he's okay. Not really sure what that entails completely, but he's gained her favor for the time being. Especially because she's been so open with her about the information regarding Charlie and Helm possessing him.
Do you think that it was some sort of special favor?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I want to say special favor because I don't know. It could be anything from, hey, just anytime you come in, special 10% discount, or it's some like binding spell saying like as long as you're here, you're somewhat protected in some way.
I think it was more, I won't kill you and fry you where you stand if you make yourself announced every time.
I feel like it was a lot
when-
closer to a warning as opposed to a, hey, come hang out anytime.
Oh,
But that
okay.
she wouldn't
Hey,
fry
bro,
me for
come
no
enjoy a
reason.
nice time
So,
degree beer with us.
yeah, she won't fry me for just entering her house.
How do you
as
think?
long, as
I'm
long as
curious.
announced.
I want to know, one, from, I think I'm going to start with Annie here. What do you think would have happened had Jacob arrived, if it was Jacob instead? Because Jacob's last appointment with Sasha had her
he got
smacking
smacked.
him with her tail into the steps, taking like 28 points of his life away.
Yeah, I think it would have gone worse if he had entered unannounced.
Well, I'm used to
Probably.
getting bitch slapped by random women, so
This isn't a random woman.
You can add
This is
dragon
a
to that list.
well-known dragon woman.
yeah. And for what it's worth, hey, her slap went ahead and knocked some things loose.
Knock
She
some sense
legitimately
into you.
knocks some- yeah, exactly. Knocks. You took it right out of my mouth, man. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I do that often.
Oh, I'm just not for it.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
she smacked me, and
Sorry.
suddenly I remembered my
Not what I meant.
childhood.
You did remember some things, but that was actually part of Jacob's conversation, which I feel like was one of the most interesting parts about last session for me was how terse your conversation was with Jenya. The chat desperately wanted you to explain some of your history, but you refused to, and it makes sense, I guess, to a degree. But at the same time, why did you stop yourself from explaining to her that you were the infant, as opposed to the fact that you were actually, like bros, you guys hang out on the weekend, and you know everything about him?
Because he has absolutely no pride in who he is at the moment.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I've got
Yeah.
reasons. I understand, or at least I feel like I have a degree of understanding, but I feel like the chat may not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, look at Jacob. He's been accused of murder, actively known to have killed children. He's constantly, in one way or another, in trouble with Kiana. He's guilty of killing an old man in Lapook by conversation.
Yeah, but are you guilty of that?
Not really, but kinda.
Kind of, yeah. Well, I mean, externally,
Yeah.
outside of the game, you believe as such.
Throw in the fact that he looks like he's half Labrizu, and his father is, the demon general of the hellscapes, and, well, no, he doesn't necessarily want to go ahead and tell the kindly woman who raised him until his eventual theft. Because I'm pretty sure, what's his name, when he left, went ahead and took Jacob with to deliver to Naphthatorin, but that's whole
Rufus?
Yeah,
Rufus. Yeah, that's actually, I never said that, but that's accurate. That's a very strong perception, and that's accurate. He took you,
Mm-hmm.
which I never said that. So if anybody didn't know that, then I'm confirming as such. Rufus did.
This is news to me.
But who took what?
Rufus took Jacob as a child to Naphthatorin.
I believe it.
Yeah. I kind of figured that one out on my own. But yeah, he has absolutely no pride in who he is or what he's done. And he's really not even sure he trusts himself at this point to be a good person.
Right.
Yeah, Ulhime
And
doesn't.
as Jenya is by and large a good person, the epitome, the epitome of a good person, he wanted her to have at least a little peace of mind that this one questionable thing she did turn out right.
Right.
He wanted to give her some peace.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can agree to that. I feel like that's not far off base. Perfect. Then that's where we land. And that's about what happened last time. Anything else? Anybody feel like they need to note anything? All right. So I'll set the scene, and so long as he doesn't mind, I will start our stream with Rahk.
Shit.
I'm supposing you don't mind.
Do mind? I want to be friends. I'm just kidding.
How fucking dare you?
Yeah, goddamn it, you're a goon. Okay, let's
I just want to sit here and write poetry.
This isn't fair. I was told I was gonna be first every session.
Yeah, I don't remember saying that.
I know, I made it up.
Okay. Aside from the necessary grimness of that tone, it is it's a little later. It's later in your evening. You guys had spent much of your early day speaking with Cort, aligning things to his benefit. He nearly died. It took 3 hours. 3 hours to wait for Keegan to be prepared. And then while it seemed like it was just very, very quick rolls, Keegan also maintained him there for another 3 hours, just to see if he was going to stay on top of it. You ended the session with a surgery. It was harrowing, to say the least. Very, very close calls, but luckily, Rahk was in charge of the numbers, and he was good about it. So, there. Keegan has said his piece, and he's ushered everyone to the front and explains that he believes that the boy will survive. He also explains that there should be no damage that is maintained to this particular apparatus. Doing so will likely bring about his end. And if something does happen, make sure that he's close or that you can get him here very quickly. He doesn't have the spare parts on hand, but he'll work on fabricating them. He knows a few blacksmiths that take on special orders. So long as you can funnel some coin into him in the future, he can try to get spares. So, Rahk there before you lies the resting Cort. Still very young. Somehow, still alive. You've maintained your quiet for a short time. You've chimed in from time to time here and there, but this falls before you. Do you have any goals? Do you have any aspirations, things you'd like to accomplish? Do you have anything you wanted to say or reach out to any of your allies?
At this point, goals and aspirations really, I just need to go and see Chops again, because realistically, I don't know how much time I've spent around him since I was Gliminath. More pressing matters have sort of been at hand. So knowing that Cort is now as okay as he's going to be and safe as he's going to be from this point forward, I would feel comfortable leaving the party to seek out Chops.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's been, 3 or 4 days, right?
At least, yeah.
About as much, correct.
So they should be back at the bathhouse unless they went off somewhere else.
I will bear in mind, there was one last event that occurred at the end of the last session. A tremor shook the ground.
Fuck, that's right. Shit.
One of you felt that it was specific in design. Thelsa, what did you feel?
I felt that it was coming from a directional, because I felt it in my left foot and then my right foot, and I asked roughly what way I was facing to where it would be, and it felt like it was coming from the opposing side of the center of the volcano, so it felt like it was coming from the outside.
Sure. Any ideas what might cause
that
this?
direction? I'm not thinking it was the volcano, because I feel like if there was something rumbling and it was going to cause an eruption, it would be at the center of the volcano and not coming from the outside.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I'm hoping it's something like a meteor landed in that direction. Something
No.
simple and not terrifying.
Nah,
Someone cast
superhero
wild
landing.
magic.
Colossus had a
meteor landed.
superhero landing.
That is horrifying, but okay.
A Tarrasque just flinched in his sleep,
Yes, just
and it shook the earth.
all of the continents. Like, oh fuck, what was that? Not sure. All right, Rahk. You make your way out. It's late. It's not very, very late, but it's late enough. Probably looking at right around 7, 8, 9 o'clock. The sun has fallen, and most of curfew stands at this point, since the town has been in disarray, and you are on a shortage of knights and guard. There is a curfew that is instated. Anyone that is believed to be outside of that time, well, they're likely rebel rousers, someone trying to cause any kind of scene or disarray.
Yeah, I fit the description.
You have a reputation. You do have a reputation here. I wouldn't say it's a rabble rouser, though.
Or like World Ender or World Breaker.
Do you know what
I
your
mean-
reputation is?
Not really. No, I haven't got a good read on it.
Okay.
Job speed
Dude.
bag, that's what it is.
You're the orc with the smoothest walk next to Denzel Washington. You have all the looks of a young Denzel Washington with all the wisdom of an old Morgan Freeman. That's what you are. Don't let anyone tell you different, all right?
Just say Denzel Washington was an orc. Is that what I
Going
just
by
gathered
bright
from that?
rules.
Saying that he's hot as fuck is what I'm saying, all right?
could have just said that he was hot.
Don't let anyone tell you different, all right?
All right, now I know the kind of man that you're into, and that's fine, dog. Like,
Tusks, you know.
yeah, he's in there handsome and wise. I
you
feel
go.
it. I feel it. All right. Well, yeah, I think it's safe to say that you probably are not super aware of what your reputation is, but you definitely have a reputation that follows you. You certainly have to be aware of how you earned that reputation, though. It had something to do with taking a hammer to a dire zombie bear, and surviving the combat with it.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. Surviving that entire encounter, especially on the front lines, certainly made you reputable. So, you find very little interaction. If you happen to see a guard, which I'll say it's a very small chance. I'll say it's a 5% chance. Give me a 5% here, sir.
Well, there's only 5 guards.
Well, that doesn't necessarily
Let's-
mean that the guard is going to run into him.
Do you want to just a single number on a d20, or you want like 5 numbers out of a d100?
You can give me 5 numbers out of a whatever. What do you prefer?
Let's just go with a d20. I'm gonna go with 1.
Okay, so here we go. No, there is no interaction, no guards. You find nothing. Nothing hinders you, stops you along your way. You have an idea of where Chobs and Marion would go. There was a requisition for supplies, but you know that they went outside of the town. Just for the viewers at home, why is it that you asked them to step outside of the town?
If I recall correctly, I knew that we were. I'm trying to remember the exact timeline of events, but I think it was when we were on our way to fight Ike,
Mm-hmm.
before we knew that Gleminath was part of the equation. Maybe not. I don't remember exactly.
Anybody else care to weigh in?
Yeah, I think it was during the Gluminath incident. We had told him to go to the tankard at first. I don't know if you switched it to have him go outside of the town after that, though. I don't remember if you had that conversation with him.
It just really depends on where.
'Cause I know I told him to take like 2 days at the tankard, and then we would like go from there. And
Okay.
I think I told Rahk about that already.
Well, I'm not really sure why you would send them to the Tankard. You don't exactly have an excellent reputation at the Tankard.
We don't, but they don't know that they're connected to us. We weren't going to be there, that's why.
Well, they also don't have money.
Yeah, they do. I gave him the 500 gold, remember, to build his cottage?
Yeah. They put in a requisition for the parts for that, like to get that all made. He might be one-armed, but he's competent.
Yeah, no. No, but I mean, we did send them. So, I mean, if they didn't use that gold, then there would have been gold given to them to do that.
Sure. Okay. Then, I don't know, maybe just deduct a little bit out of your coin and whomever gave that gold, and then just assumedly so that they went into the thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do like 3 gold worth of.
Sure. That's easy enough. That's more than enough for them.
We know where they're headed.
Correct.
Because with the whole wild magic shenanigans that happened last month, we teleported outside of the town and turned into colossal beings, and we spotted them on their way out of town.
And boy, did they spot you.
Yeah, they spotted more than I probably wish they had spotted, but at least there were trees.
It's true. It's true. And while no wild magics came in this week, as far as I can tell, let me take a look again just to make sure. There is at least a list from last week that we are capable of using.
At least we know Chobs now
Yes.
has a thing for really tall women.
Okay. Yeah, it does. It looks like we got the one, and that's fine. That's good. So then, yes, we do have some that have come through, and the list is still here from last week as well. All right. You spend some time sort of looking around, trying to remember and recall where they've gone off to before it just sort of snaps to that they had mentioned in passing that he had gone off to the Tankard. Now, have you been to the Tankard much?
Not since the last time.
This is mostly for Rahk.
Thanks for your input, though, Sniper. We all really appreciate it. I don't know that I have actually been there yet. No, probably once or twice.
Okay.
Been there once for sure.
Yeah.
Because I've only ever been there once.
Okay. I'll leave that down to a memory test then. Let's see. We'll go 1 R&D. And I'll say, given the series of events and stress that they might be under, I'll say a 15% chance. Window at 45 up. They do remember you. They do remember you. It was short. It was a short experience, but you've got one of those faces. Or the fact that you're enormous.
Or the fact that I'm, like the only half-orc that can actually formulate a sentence in common around here.
Plus, it's your reputation, more than anything else. And it's positive to the townfolk. They see you as such. I will alter your audio here to give you that experience and put you in. Bam. All right, friend. The tavern seems to still be bustling even at this hour, regardless if there is a curfew or not. It's never been an issue. This is a tavern as such. It's also an inn. People can stay here. There are rooms above, as you can recall outside of game. This is likely where most of you would spend some of your time. I can specifically recall a few events with Klaus that spawned the most terrifying of boogeymen, but no less, this was definitely a place where you guys called home for a short time. So, friend, you arrive, and you immediately see that this place is populated. A lot of the patrons, though there is some anxiety that sort of drives the room, the conversation still ambles forward. The lighting is low. The owners, a man and a woman, while they are grief-stricken, their face stressed out, the lines are apparent, the eyes are maybe slightly just staunched back. You do get the feeling as if this is a vice that they are happy to purvey for. This is something that they are very curt with their patrons, but they are happy to deliver. And when they see you, a man starts to sort of dry off his hands, and he walks over, still clutching the rag. He walks over and he kind of dips his head briefly in a bow. Says, welcome into the Dip Tankard. It's good to see you. You was here before, were you not?
I was.
I think you were, yes. Yes, you were. The book reading top, yes.
Indeed.
What did you? Were you hungry? We still have some victuals left, some shakes or bread, if you're interested.
Perhaps, but for now, I'm actually seeking a one-armed man and the child that's with him.
One-armed man and a child. I was sorry. I've been down the past few days, just dealing with some things. But my wife, maybe you've seen him. If you don't mind, and he steps back, heading back behind the bar. He seems to have a brief conversation. She glances over, and her eyes kind of trace on you for a little while. Not really know who exactly you are. Before she finally nods, and you see that she kind of comes off with something, and he nods as well. Comes back. They're upstairs. They seem to be resting in room 4. They're friends of yours, I take it?
Yes, not exactly the boy's father, but close enough to it at this point.
Not a resemblance I'm quite surprised with, showing that you's not either. But if you will then, have your way then, up room 4. And if you need so, I can prepare some food still for you.
I do appreciate it.
He nods. And there is a brief, tight-lipped smile, and then he steps back behind the bar. Do you wait for the food, or do you head upstairs?
No, I'm going to make my way upstairs.
Okay. You head up the steps. The wood cracks beneath the weight of your boot. The patrons seem to stare at you for a while. Some of them mutter words under their breath. Nothing that you can quite make out. You're not sure if it's fear or if it's a state of awe. There are not many half-orcs left in the town. In fact, there's only one other half-orc left. He's in the guard. But he wears guard garb. The others are just normal men. You are the other half-orc. You do not wear guard garb. They recognize you immediately. The awe might be noted for a reason. They trail off as you head up the steps, and you find your way to the door. You hear no noise from behind that door, but it is as said. Door shut, you see light flickering from beneath it. Do you knock? Do you kick the door in?
Not exactly. Yeah, I'm just going to knock strongly.
Okay. You knock, and there is a moment before the door cracks. You see nothing before you immediately before your head stoops down low, and you see the boy. When he sees you, that single eye that's peeking through that crack goes wide before he swings it open, and then he dashes in and grabs your leg.
I'll take a knee and wrap my arms around him. It's good to see you.
His eyes begin to well briefly before... And Marion chimes in. He's like, come inside. Come in. Come on, Chob's boy, let's go. And he lets go, and he runs back in. Moves to the side of the bed, and he sort of rests at the floor, sort of giving you a spot to sit down. When the door is shut behind you, the tavern falls off entirely. And it's just a dead roar to another place. And there, something feels very normal. Marion, a welcome sight. Chobs, happy to be in your presence. And rarely is there more an inviting time, a serene experience than being in the presence of people who actually adore your company, your camaraderie, and just being around you. Chobs and Marion seem kindred spirit, and though very separate in age, they're happy to be around you. Do you revel in this for a while, or do you go immediately into business?
The conversation that I'll be making isn't exactly all business. More so, need to know if they ran into any trouble, how they fared for the past few days.
There is an exasperated sigh from Marion before Chop says, "We were fine. He said that we had to eat meagerly, which was no problem because, well, I'm used to it already. And well, they were nice. They brought us the bread from the end of the day, and they said that we could have it. And I never had no monies before, but it's nice to have it." And Marion chimes in, yes, it's fine as such. What had been given to us was enough. A few days is just fine. But admittedly, I'm eager to stretch my wing. I'd like to step outside of town. I'm surprised the requisitions have not come in yet. Eager to see this home. The start of an academy, rebuilt again. I'd like to see the type of men that I can bring back into the world. And knights again, back onto the field. Chops is very excited as well, aren't you, boy? Yes, I am. And I will beat all the trolls.
I'm sure you will.
And how do you fare, Rahk?
Things have been better, I will be honest. And I've something to tell you in that regard. The men that you've brought into this world already, Cort, namely, he suffered great wounds in the battle.
Yes. I was afraid as such when you had arrived. Well, when the others had arrived, and you two had not.
He's alive, but hurt, and not entirely human anymore.
As in, he has changed, or?
In a fashion, he's been magically restored.
Well, magic is not something I was ever gifted with. Ever.
That makes two of us. Can't pretend to understand it, but when it does things like this, saves those that we love, then I'm thankful for it.
My mind is sharp, sharper as I age, but my hands were ever more deft. I found myself always more capable on the field, leading the brunt of battle, which admittedly was further far in between than I cared to admit, but I did enjoy training those that would see the field. I can never say that I was interested in reading much in the way of books. Being fastidious was something that was seen as weak by my family. But I found the value in it as I've gotten older. My father was wrong. So he lives, though. He is fine.
He does. He's resting now, regaining strength. I'm sure you'll like to see him as soon as you're able.
You notice that there is a pause. It doesn't take much for you to discern that. You're intelligent. You are quick-witted, and you recognize that there is a pause in this sort of stumble in his candor and his own retort. Do you say anything about that, or do you just let it slide?
Perhaps I presumed. Did not mean to. I just know that you had a close relationship with the boy at one point.
I did, yes, I did. And I do with all of the young men that I've trained. They always saw to me as some sort of appropriate figure. But all father figures must say goodbye to their boys before they become a man elsewhere. And I've lost many disciples and students. Now that he has become his own, he's no longer my student. We are equals. Yet he still feels as such that I am. It's an odd situation to be in, Rahk. I find myself loathing this feeling that I can be more. And I know one day that I, too, will no longer be of assistance to this boy. I suppose it's something else I've discovered with age, is that I am accepting fate as it is. That I, too, will grow, or they will grow away from me and utility.
Perhaps there's more to it than that. I mean, you seem to be the only one that this boy has left. He lives for practically nothing aside from making you proud and avenging the deaths of those he loved.
Are they not one and the same? He believed me to be dead. Now that I am alive, does this make him weaker? Does this give him more to fight for?
I believe there is more to fight for, but I also believe that your relationship with him is not strictly one of a power dynamic. I don't believe that you are simply a master to him. Father figure may be one thing, but you seem to be as much a father to him as anyone else has been.
My only fear is that he no longer needs a father figure in his life, and that he now needs earnest, morally driven friends. This is something that I am not so sure he has. In the few that I've seen, the few that I've met, I would say that they are ambiguously drawn. It is very gray for them, grim at times, and this is fine. We all do things we're not proud of. But I worry for him, I do. And I'm not sure how to explain that. Emotions are not something you take to the battlefield, Rahk. I'm sure you're aware of this. Or maybe I'm wrong and I am deceived.
Quite the opposite. Emotions are one of the only things I take to the battlefield. I thrive off of the anger and the rage, the pain. It's where I find my fighting spirit. But I have other outlets as well.
Do you feel that when the blood runs through you and you are this torrent on the field, do you feel less calculating?
Absolutely. I lose some of the graces that I've developed otherwise. Become, I suppose, more like my brethren.
Then it comes with no shame that I admit that I too find myself driven by similar fears and angers. Hell, it is what drove me for days on the back of that steed before I found that blue-haired facade. Jakob. I wish he was just honest with me from the beginning. Not that I can blame him. When he revealed himself to be what he was, I was taken aback, but I saw the goodness inside of him. Even he needs good friends. You seem to have grown close to them yourself. Do you not find that there are challenges being with so many different people, that they are similarly gray and ambiguous?
I do, but as you said, they all need beacons of goodness and light in their world. And frankly, if that's what I can provide for them, then I'm happy to do it. I will not allow myself to be corrupted in the process. And this leads to contention, but I think it's healthy. If they don't have something to fight for, they need something to fight against.
That's novel. Then I ask you of this. Can rage and vengeance be good?
For the right reasons. When it's spurred on by injustice and cruelty. Yes, I believe so.
Do you mind if I ask you something of your past?
Absolutely.
You're elderly. The fathers of your father. And the other men in your tribe. If it was a tribe, I'm widely uninformed. What did they do? Did they retire and bury their weapons?
No, they fought till the end.
Even in age and pain.
Especially then. If they grew old enough to see that, they almost saw themselves as failures. Not having martyred themselves for their cause.
I understand that you've known this your entire life, but as a man that was raised in a similar situation as Cort and Chubbs here, I've only known cold and calculating figures. Statistics on the field, figures a point in prominence, strategy. But I cannot deny a fury and a rage inside of myself that had driven me at times. And when I seen my home waylaid, put to fire, and the people I had come to know, trust and love, slain, and I demanded that boy charge away from me. I ran in, drawn by furious wiles. And I'd never felt that before, because I knew then that I had never, ever harnessed that. And I was never taught how to harness that. Now I felt stuck. I felt as a pocket watch, with the hands stuck in time. My body grows older, but my desires do not. Would you be willing to help me understand what it means to harness this rage for the good of the many? Because I am forlorn with grief for losing the skill that I have garnered. And I am afraid to tell anyone else, because I am the master. I am the trained, and there is no one there to teach me.
There is beauty and value in strategy in the times that it is needed. But there is true art in passion, whether that's taking the form of rage or grief or sadness, happiness. Whatever the emotion is, it's a powerful force. I will teach you this way.
This will be good for not only myself, but those that fall under my tutelage. And how can I properly train warriors if I do not understand the ways of every field of battle? Perhaps when things calm down and the city begins to rebuild, you can temporarily lay down your weapon and begin to teach the next generation.
I would like that very much.
Then it is settled. I will learn the ways of... Is it the path of fury? A path of rage? What do you call it?
Rage.
A path of rage. Chob's just kind of like watching, just like wide-eyed, eyes glowing and stare from like what little firelight and candlelight flicker there is. Just like it's like a superhero experience for him, right?
I tousle his hair and say, "This one, he has the fire inside. He will be a good one to learn."
Chob's just kind of like, he straightens up and his brow furrows tightly, like wincing his eyes. He stands up and he does the most like intense, like Super Saiyan-esque pose. He just goes, ah! Like he just starts yelling out, just letting out this noise of rage and anger. And he just baring teeth, right? Just as much as he possibly can. And you even see that you finally can break Marion for this intensity that he's kind of admitted, that he's tired of being the old master, and he wants to be back in a learning state. He wants to be youthful again and feel useful. And he covers his mouth and he just starts to chuckle under the covered palm.
Oh, full on belly laughing for this.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Is there anything else that you wanted to state or say with them, or do you find yourself just sort of like reveling in this experience for now?
Probably revel in it for a few more moments, and when things kind of settle down again, I'll stand up and offer for them to come with me to get some food, some real food, other than just day-old bread. Good.
So yeah, you'll know that they don't have any money left. It was like 2 days, I think, that they had stayed here, and it was enough for them to basically buy the room for those nights. Remember, this is still a locally seen as like a police bar, even if there are no guards anymore. Some of the guards will come by occasionally, but now the most prominent and popular part is the locals that are trying to drink away their sorrows. The very few amount of homeless that actually remain working linearly paycheck to paycheck, spending it all to the bottom of the bottle. And even some of the local workers, the working ladies, are rather sad about it. Business used to be bustling. It isn't anymore. But you'll find that the food is good. The food is warm, especially if you're willing to pay top price. Chobs does not even remotely argue. He is quick to accept copious amounts of warm food, and he's loud about it. Like slamming silverware on the table unless stopped. He's quick to accept whatever is tossed in front of him, even if it's strange or bizarre and he's not used to it, he's for it. And Marion seems to have some almost grace to him about this, but he's very quick to eat as well. It looks as if they both went without. Give me perception. Your eyes wander. You people watch. That's excuse me. That's sort of what makes these experiences most interesting, is that people will watch you. And simultaneously, as you're eating, you sort of start to take all of these things in around you, take in the surroundings. And you notice how vacant the place actually feels. Despite the amount of people that seem to be here and the chatter that is had, is only a handful of people, a handful of conversations that are going on. But it doesn't stop them. Eventually their eyes will wander back to their meal. Conversations will continue to ramp back up. Everyone seems merry for the moment. Everyone simultaneously seems drunk, and you cannot tell if that is aligned. What you can see is that half of the bar patrons are sick. Their skin is slightly discolored. Their clothes are dirty. Their eyes are bloodshot. A few of them cough. Most of them wipe their noses. You know it's warm months. It's not been a shifting of seasons. At least yet. This isn't just a cold. Some of them are exhibiting some traits of illness. And most of them are rail thin. So you can probably guess based off of what you know that something's happening. So, the camera will pan away here after you get your food. And it will move back to whomever would like to find some limelight right now. As I taper off the tavern music. So, gents, who's next? Who would like to take this to the next spot?
Sniper.
Sure, I'll go ahead and take a crack.
Okay. Okay, where would you like to be? What are you doing right now? What does this look like?
Well, first and foremost, actually, let me go ahead and figure this out. 1 second. Okay, he's going to the guardhouse first.
Okay.
Yeah, after all, he has been missing for a few days, and Kiana is probably questioning just what the hell happened.
Hey, Ritual Cub putting some luck reroll on the board. Thank you so much, Ritual Cub. I appreciate that, bud. Thanks, buddy. So you're going off to see Kiana.
Yes, off to report.
Okay.
After all, it's going to be some time before Cort's back on his feet. Rahk already took off to see the Chobs. I've already managed to blind myself and piss off a god. I may as well just, go for the easy stuff at this point.
Okay. All right, seems good. All right, it's not hard. You know exactly where you're going, and it's not ever going to be a challenge for you. One, while people are natively afraid of you, those that are aware of what you are know that you are somehow the second in command to the guard. You're the right hand. And...
well, right claw, but yes, I am under Kiana.
correct. It doesn't take you long. You find your way to the guard captain quarters. The quarters itself seems to have been coming along. When guards are not resting in the linear single-pathed quarters, they find that they are working, that Kiana keeps them busy. This is in the northern half of Cauldron, on Obsidian Avenue. This area right here for chat, if you're watching, this is the entire guard quarters right here. As you enter in...
really understaffed, so if you want to volunteer...
Definitely the case. So, friend. It's late enough in the evening, but it's not so terrible. 8, 9 o'clock at night, you know that Kiana works. She burns a candle at both ends. Never going to be an issue. You will find her.
Stepping up to the captain's door, he is going to use Alicast or whatever the hell it wants to call itself at this point and knock twice on the door frame before stepping in.
Okay. I'm actually going to let you take control of the scene. You describe this. She's there, but I want to know what she's doing. I want to know what you think Kiana would typically be doing at this hour, knowing that she's a guard captain. So what do you anticipate? What does this look like to you?
What I normally would anticipate is for her to either be at her desk, reading through files, complaints, and so forth, or asleep atop those, piles of reports and complaints. Kiana Green has went from being one of the most active lieutenants of the guard to a woman basically chained to her desk.
Sure. It probably pains, my guess is it probably pains Jakob to know that he was aware of where Jared Skellering was and that he couldn't really do much about it. Because even though Jared may be a pain in the ass for Jacob to deal with, he was likely in a better position to govern than Kiana was at the point. If I'm wrong, then please let me know.
I'm trying to figure out how Jacob knew where Jared was.
It was told to you guys. Remember, you found out where Jared was at one point. There was a particular meeting at a location where Fables intervened.
Right. Yeah. He's being held at the underground. Right. Thank you. One of a list of many things that we have to go ahead and look into at some point.
Sure. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
She's resting there. She's somewhere between being alert and dozing. It's that paperwork in front of her that seems to be trailing off as she's propped her jaw up on the desk. She's still wearing her armor. Desk is still in the most disarray that you can assume. Papers litter the floor, and her sword tucked and tilted into the corner, much like Jared Skellerings, the previous guard captain.
Kiana, when's the last time you actually slept in a bed?
It takes her a short amount of time to reply before her eyes look up to you. And it looks as if the light seems to have died in them slightly. This job is not meant for everyone. You can see that. And you hear this big gasp, this... I don't know. It's been... Yep. It's been time. It's been too long. I could use a rest. But this town isn't going to make itself better. Someone has to see forward to this gets finished.
True. And closing the door behind him, he'll step over to one of the more sturdy-looking seats and settle down himself, resting Alakast up against his shoulder. Well, if nothing else, the captain of the Citadel has made it to the city. And brought grain, of all things.
That's great news. Did we even expect that?
Well, I did go to them for aid, but I didn't really expect as much as they brought. He also brought their pet snake, the name of which eludes me.
Great. I guess. I don't care about his pets. It's great that he brought grain. Did he need a place to stable the horses? We can do this. We can bring in the we can even tend to their wagons.
No wagons needed. Note, Kiana, this snake is over 100 feet long. It is a massive creature.
I should have guessed.
And he'll be living outside of the city on it. Just naturally being of the Citadel, captain of the Citadel, he is going to foster some growth in the area. Not quickly, of course, but it is of help. And I think that we may be able to rest our heads a little easier.
What do you mean that he's going to? Is he a farmer? Does he farm as well?
No, think of him as a very, very powerful druid. That's the best way I can think to explain it.
Okay, all right. So, very powerful snake, druid, brought grain.
We've got some guard outside of the city. Secondly,
How many of the Citadel came?
just the one.
Oh, yeah, great. Our forces are domineering. One. We have... Oh, God.
It's more than we had. And considering the beast that he's roaming around, around the area on, I would say it's considerable.
You are you impressed by him? You seem very impressed by this man and his snake. You said it's impressive and large, and more often than not, I rarely find myself in the company of men that are willing to admit as such.
I somewhat feel like you're trying to poke fun at me, Kiana.
Of course I am. You've just told me that the Citadel has arrived, and that we should feel safer that they are on our borders, and it's just one man. And his pet snake, that is over 100 feet long. That's interesting for our wildlife scenario. Not that there are much of that, but I'm grateful that you've extended that. Will they be bringing more big snakes?
Doubtful.
Right,
but
so
he did
when
bring
you
grain,
when
so
you
we
asked
do.
for help from Red Gorge and from Sasserine, what exactly did you say to them?
From Red Gorge, I requested carpenters, workmen, people capable of helping rebuild the city, and from Sasserine, I asked for any aid they could offer, but mostly dried goods. Dried fish, salt pork, things of that nature. Things that can hold. But Sasserine is some weeks away, especially if they're sending anything by wagon.
Jacob, I want to be very clear. As a sleep-deprived woman, and with only a minor amount of jest in my voice, and if one man shows up from Red Gorge with a big stick and another man shows up from Sasserine with a big fish, I will cut you in half.
Fair. All joking aside, though,
I'm trusting. I don't do this a lot, but I'm trusting what you've brought. That this is valuable, and you seem happy. You seem happy about this, so I'll chalk this up as a victory, because we don't get many of those right now.
anything to help us move forward is a victory. And the Citadel bringing grains for planting crops is a major victory. Ulhime's already seen to distributing to the farmers. Thelsa has also spoken with the Church of Sasserine, with the Church of Weejas in Sasserine, to see about further aid. So there is that as well.
That's great news. We have a desperate shortage of clergy and a similar need. I suppose it's been no surprise to find that there are many sick inside of the town, and I have not a damn clue as to why. Nobody knows.
That certainly goes for the both of us. Granted, what they've been supplementing their diet with hasn't been of any help, but...
What have they been supplementing their diet with?
Dirt. Plain old, on the ground dirt.
Like... Damn it.
Dirt and chaff, baked and, baked and devoured. It's the best that people can do. The fires went ahead and took most of the grain silos. And with everything that's happened, we just not got the resources to sustain. I'm hoping that the Church of Ouijas will bring some additional aid. Perhaps they will be coming along with whatever keeping Sasserine is able to part with. As far as the sickness is concerned, we are working with Lady Jania, who is running a sort of field clinic out of what once was the Wee Apothecary, which is a silly name, by the way.
I honestly couldn't be bothered. Well, I hope that those that come from Red Gorge find their way here swiftly, as there have been reports of issues at the lake and some runoff. Forgive me for not knowing exactly how it functions. Where they empty their stills in their chamber pots, it seems to be backing up. And it's, well, I can imagine it's rather putrid.
I don't even want to think about it.
Well, it's...
those fools hadn't killed that one monster some months back.
You seem to have something of the knowledge that I am not aware of. What fools? What monster? Where? I can imagine the why. It's a monster.
The creature that the people used to enter their, empty their chamber pots and refuse in. This was around the time that the bathhouse was originally destroyed.
I don't remember this.
It was some months back. I think I was probably keeping one of your cells warm at the time.
I'm going to have to look into that. That doesn't seem to make much sense. But that's tomorrow's Kiana's problem. Tonight's Kiana's problem is being exhausted. But so far exhausted that I am incapable of prying myself away. I'm afraid that I will actually feel bad, as there is still much to handle, much to do.
True. But hopefully if things pan out from Sasserine, we might be able to... we might be able to draft some of the men in the city into the guard for food and lodging. Once we have more order within the city, we should be able to go ahead and control our investigations a little better, and from there, hopefully things roll downhill.
Well, fingers crossed.
I felt that you probably needed a little bit of good news. It's very little, but it is good news.
Yes, it's something. It's a beginning, and I suppose that I will chalk that up as such.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. It's better than how my evening's gone.
And what of the rest of the men and woman? The rest of your allies, are they well? Do they look equally as tired?
We're all fairly weary. There was an incident with the leader of the Church of Ouijas.
Ike, yes.
Yeah, Ike Iverson. He summoned a greater wraith to take his rage out upon the city, and for a time it possessed the half-orc Rahk, and then Cort. Luckily, we were able to handle such, if you could call it that, but in doing so, Cort was severely wounded. He lives yet, so there is that. Keegan Gelv.
She starts kind of like rifling through some papers and things, and she brings up this this finer document that seems to have a very, very, very tight yet tousled writing in it. And she seems to go through it. She pulls it very close to her face. Her face looks rather bizarre. She's exhausted, but the way that she contorts her face, it's kind of like that old man look when you're like trying to read text on a paper, so it's just all winced up. But she seems to be advancing at this paper, and she asks, was this X days ago? Was this on this day? When you said,
quite honest, Kiana, I have no idea what today is. It was 3 or 4 days back.
Yeah, this might be related to it then. We had some bizarre deaths that was discovered, many being frozen. And
yes, that would most likely be attributed to the Wraith. It saps life wherever it goes. Luckily, the young knight Cort and I were able to find its source, so to speak. And rooting through the rubble of the Church of Sarah and Ray, we were able to bring it to a swift end.
I'm surprised. You remember the last time I discovered that someone had died from a death chill? That was your fault.
Yes. Yes, it was.
I was starting to believe that you may had cycled back, that you were falling into your older ways, but when I saw the bodies, I couldn't fathom that this was you, because, well, the original body, the previous guard that you had accidentally, quote-unquote, killed, he appeared relatively normal until the coroner had discovered that his internals had frozen. But in this case, you would be surprised to find that all of the men that we discovered, all of their eyes had burst, crystalline, lying about there. Their heads, shards, cutting away at the skin. Lips. Just, it was terrible. I couldn't fathom that it was you, but I had to assume. I had to assume as such.
Well, of this, my hands are clean. Such as they are. But suffice it to say, the issue has been handled and it will not be repeated. We have all of my compatriots to thank on that one.
Well, that's been done. I suppose that's one that I can just chalk up as another victory. I never liked that man anyway. Never cared for him.
Apparently, he didn't like quite a lot within the city as well.
I suppose that's one of the places that we can align ourselves. I find that I am liking fewer and further between. The longer I stay in this position, I'm eager to find that ass of a man.
Well, my investigations are showing some fruit in that regard, but nothing I can confirm or call actionable. From what little I can discern, it's likely that he is alive. It's likely that he is being held against his will. But it is Jared Skellering. One never knows with him.
But he is. He's in town, and he's alive.
Supposedly.
That's huge news.
If it's true. It's speculation and, rumor at this point. Nothing we can, nothing I'm willing to go ahead and call concrete.
I need rest. I need rest.
Indeed
I'm
you
beginning
do.
to feel shaky. Can you... And by the gods, I would never ask this another time.
Do the paperwork?
Can you maintain this spot, please, so I can try to rest for a few hours?
I've other business in town, but yes. I think I can let it hold until the dawn, and until then.
Her eyes like go wide when you say the dawn, and you can tell that she was just expecting like 3 hours. But when you say the dawn, not another word. She immediately stands up. You hear the scraping gait of the chair slide back over the stone, and she runs her hand through her hair. Oh. Good night. And she smiles very, very widely so, and she walks out of the room. You see her pulling at the bindings on the side of her armor as she steps off to a cot to go rest. She was not expecting a full night's rest, so to gain that is probably pretty heavenly.
Somehow I feel like I was just conned.
Bold statement.
Fade to black.
Bold statement. Perfect. All right. The camera turns yet again. We find ourselves staring at a pair. They were conversating, have been doing more so recently regarding just how they intend to handle the Church of Ouijas, the turn. The camera's going to pan back and find Ulhime and Thelsa. They've also been left in the charge and care of Cort. So, I pass the camera off to you two. Mayhaps you're engaged in conversation. Mayhaps you've just finished as such, but you were hovering around the wee apothecary before you separate. Okay, friends. And the floor is yours.
Once I was done at the Shining Tome with that group, yeah, that's where I had cut my part last session. I would have been headed back to the wee apothecary to see what the progress was there.
Okay. When you arrive, you'll find that, in this case, Ulhime has been mostly handling a lot of the mundane tasks, doing all of things like, even with a single arm, his raw strength, he is capable of not tiring whatsoever and just blowing this wood out of the water. You know what I mean? Just like completely splintering everything. He's cleaning up. He's washing the wrecks. He's basically running as Cinderella around the apothecary. All the mundanities he's handling himself.
I remember this kind of work.
It's a sad reflection, but you see there's something humbling about it. Ulhime borderline revels in it. While it may be mundane, he's not making a decision that is going to completely change someone's life for the better or the worse. So while he's not immediately smiling, you see him in a peaceful state, as peaceful as a dead man can be. The floor is yours.
Yeah, when I entered in, I'd probably sit at a table and Ulhime, you meant to talk to some masons, right?
Correct.
About the bathhouse originally?
Yes. As far as where they're going to be commissioned from, it's either going to be here or whatever workers we pull from Red Gorge.
I was looking into it and trying to find out what masons you were going to hire from around here, because as much as I know I can do structural work with magic means on the church, I don't believe I can restore it to its previous beauty. So I wanted maybe help to look into them. I don't know if Jenya might know, but she doesn't seem to be here at the moment.
Oh,
Well,
you
if
know
you're
that she
looking-
is there, but she's resting in the back.
Yeah. He's kind of just like, it looks kind of weird, but he's kind of picking up after the Heroes Feast. Like, he knows it's going to disappear, but it's kind of like a habit that people have. And like, as you see him stack like the last plate, like you see the table just go, like just Thanos disintegrates after he's like done cleaning it. But it's like, he doesn't pay any mind to it. It's like he expected it, but it's kind of just like a routine that he's kind of just following. So he cleans it off and stacks it, and then it just disappears. And he kind of walks through it and just looks at Thelsa. Well, if you're looking for craftsmanship, I don't know if we're going to be able to find that in terms of artistry for the church. I've seen the damage that Rahk's weapon has done, but if you're looking to get the walls just restored, that's one thing. We can find people to place brick to mortar to restore that. But if you're looking for a full restoration, then we would have to hire possibly outside the city or pay pretty handsomely to get someone in the city to do that. It's something I expect to do even now with the bathhouse. If we're going to be hiring here, the gold's going to have to be upfront to those people, and we're going to have to make sure that the work's going to be done properly.
Noted. Then I'll see to it that I get some structural maintenance done through magic means there, but I'll keep it rough and add some excess so that there's some room for removal in order to return it to its beauty. But I need to look into that.
You seem pressed for time about the church.
I am slightly. We do have a few of the clergy from Sassarine on the way here.
I'll be right back. Keep going.
Well, that being
Right.
said, then why is it so important that the church be restored then?
I want to hold a good image. If they're going to have to look up to me as their new head mother, I don't want them to come into a church that's in disarray.
It's an understandable thought to have.
Good first
And-
impressions.
Ulhime gives a nod, and he kind of takes like one of the washcloths that he was using, and he kind of just throws it over his shoulder. I've been curious to ask you, though it is recent, what does Weejoss mean to you?
I see Weejoss as a new chance at life. I nearly died in her church, and then was led astray by someone's hand to do, well, you know what I've done. And
Wasn't it her hand that guided you to do that?
It wasn't. It was her hand to make sure that I made better choices.
So
She
the
came to me.
transformation, that wasn't you.
I've done a lot of bad things, but a lot of the things that have happened in my life have been sourced and not by my own thoughts.
What bad things?
You know of my family, and a lot of that was not my choice.
that wasn't you then. I'm asking the bad that you've done. I'm not here to judge you. I have a lot of time.
Well,
He
do you
kind of
remember the
like
talk
puts his hand
with
up and he
Meth?
kind of motions her to walk outside with him.
I'd take a step forward and start walking with him. Do you recall what Meth said, Mephistopheles?
About
About me killing my previous party.
yes, well, part of the details, but I mean nothing specific.
I think it's probably best if we don't go into the details because it did happen, and frankly, I look back on it and I don't have regrets. I know what I did was bad, but I don't regret doing it. And that's something I don't expect you to understand.
I might be able to understand if you tell me what happened.
It was rough. They were all underestimating me, holding me back from moving forward and trying to demand everything I do, much like my previous family. And frankly, I wanted to do it, but I don't think I would have if things wouldn't have just come to the point of me snapping.
Is it? What did they make you do that would push you to that point? You seem level-headed, collected. I don't see that as... I mean, I haven't known you long, but given how you condone yourself, it doesn't seem in character even for you.
And maybe you don't really know who I was before Joss took me in. I'm different now, and I know oftentimes people say people don't change, but when you die and a goddess visits you and tells you that she wants you to be her champion, it's a little bit different.
He kind of he leans in and kind of smirks. I kind of have an idea.
So then you might understand more than anyone, actually, in hindsight.
I can understand the need for change. I think the part where our roads kind of split is the purpose overall. You seek renewal, I seek restoration.
I see what we just did for me as a second chance and to prove to her that she didn't do wrong.
Well, for what it's worth, I believe you. And if she's really guiding you down a path to be better, then I'm willing to help you if it's something you'd be okay with me doing.
I think you following your path is important and doing what you believe is the right thing. Because if you're going to take up mantle as Helm, everything that you do is going to be your decision and not what you think he would do.
Ulhime kind of like throws his hand out like stop. My goal isn't to take his place. It was to hold it until he came back. Even now that I know he's here, if I can get him back there, then that's what I'm going to do. But I think after that, I think he kind of wants to part ways with me. And not to say that I don't blame him, but I can understand his disappointment or frustrations with me.
I think
But
you
even
just
as
need him to realize that your actions are by your decision, and you know what you want and what you think is right. And maybe he doesn't see that from your point of view.
Ulhime kind of just shrugs. It's kind of funny that I follow his teachings to the best of my abilities, and meeting him in person, I feel like we're two separate people. That
Which usually is.
Everything that I thought I learned from him, or at least his teachings, is something that I consistently want to stand by. But there are times where I can't just wait for something to happen. I have to react. I have to step forward to stop something before it happens, and I'm always going to respect his teachings to defend those that can't defend themselves, but I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of the bad things that have happened around me are because I chose not to do something. I chose to wait to let it happen.
So were you going to try and change that? Do you step into the way before something bad happens now?
If I'm not bound to him, then I'm not hurting him. But at the same time, I just learned this today, so it might be a hard habit to break, or in the heat of the moment, I might make a decision, or lack thereof, but I don't have all the answers.
Never will. You don't know what people want. You can't expect to know exactly how you should be doing everything. That would make life too easy, frankly.
True. Even with the amount of years I've put in, and hopefully the many more, I feel like I can do better in general. At this point, like, they start like kind of walking past the guardhouse. He kind of just like stares at the guardhouse itself. He doesn't really like walk toward. He's not really walking toward. He's just kind of passing it, just trying to see if Jakob like pops out or screams or something.
Nothing like that, no.
Well, I'm with you. I believe you know what you must do, and I believe you can do it. It might take some work, but as long as you know that you're changing things in order to be in Helm's Light, then I think I can stand behind you and help you with this, but more than support, I don't know much of what I can do.
Well, I'm not in Helm's Light at the moment.
And returning to.
Kind of just throws his hand up again and shrugs.
So are you guys walking now? Are you just like hanging outside? Like, is this is this
I would say
I don't know where we're going
right now?
I'm just kind of letting Ulhime follow, or like walk, and then slowly taking his lead.
Are you guys
It's-
sitting outside the quick stop right now, waiting on your first customers? Like, what's
just smoking a joint right there. Just
We're looking for trouble.
yeah?
No, I was actually gonna walk towards the Church of Palor. I wanted to see if I can find some documentation of the head priest.
You know, the place was pretty much cleared out. There's not really much left.
All right. The only other place, where would a place like that of documentation be for like local born people or anyone coming into the city?
Historians at the library. They have documentation on that kind of thing. It's also at the mayor's place. Just generally, they have to report in there.
Okay.
I've never
I mean,
been
that
to
being
the
a
library
church-
in this town.
Well, it gets widely ignored. If you
That being a
remember,
church,
oh,
they should
that
have
actually-
the mayor's place, right? And I believe the library was destroyed.
the library was destroyed because that was at Blue Water Academy. Blue Water Academy was your library attached to the school.
Is it late? No, not really, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes,
It is
okay.
evening.
I mean, knowing that, then I'd probably start. I don't know. There's something I want to try to do, but I mean, it feels like it's kind of time constraining. But
Oh, what is it? Just tell me. I'll let you know if it is or not.
it was the porting to Occipitus to try and see if I could control the region with the smoking eye amulet that I got.
I'm most differently there.
Yeah. So like, I think a week there is 10 minutes here.
It was something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a day there is 10 minutes here, or something like that, or 5. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. I have it down in my notes somewhere. But
I think the dilation is like we were gone for like 2 weeks or a week, and like 10 minutes had passed or some shit since we had left.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think it's been very long. Or oh no, a week there was an hour. A
There
week
you
was
go.
an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's something you can do. That's something you can do. Are you going to do that now?
Yeah, because I kind of want to do a test run to see if it'll work, but I don't want to go by myself, so I'm probably going to take Thelsa with me.
Okay. All right. Well, we're actually going to take our first break. We're going to take about 5, guys. We'll come back. It's currently 10:40. We'll be back at 10:45. We'll start live there. And we will come back, and we're going to give another character some spotlight before we pass it back to them. So
We should really just move Cort to Occipitus while he recovers, and then he can come back, and like it'll only be a week before he's like pristine condition.
well,
However,
That's
he's
true.
going to be recovering while he's in hell.
we will
It's-
we'll talk more about that when we return. So, guys, we'll see you in a minute. Don't go too far. Run to the bathroom. Do what you got to do. Get some drinks, some snacks, what have you, and we will see you in 5. Sound good? Sounds good to me. See you in a minute.
I like the idea of terrifying
Yay.
Genya. Just like